Now that we've got our adaptive point behaving right, showing up in Revit, we're ready to take things to another step, and that's how to actually dimension those components, how to lay them flat. So we have this three-dimensional, and so I'm showing you images up of an experiment I did with taking the same design and doing a 3D printing of it. And so if you look up on the top left here, you can see all the components laying flat. They've been separated out of the complete model. And that's not necessarily a very simple technique to do because you have to actually get them rotated into position. And it's certainly not reiterative, which means that if you change the number of ribs, you'd have to remake each drawing. So we're going to learn how to dynamically take each one of these elements, find take a surface off of it, a vector with what's called a normal, and then rotate that into a new coordinate system so we can lay it flat. We can then put dimensions on it, or like I'm illustrating here, prepare it for doing 3D printing with. So let's just step through this. It is a bit convoluted for the first time student going through this, but bear with me. I think you'll see at the end the value of being able to do these kind of manipulations. I think it's really critical. It helps you take your idea of three-dimensional designs and make it to something that could actually be fabricated and or described to others about how to fabricate it. So we're going to go back to that idea of showing our polygons again. So I'm going to feed the list in to that polygon by points. I'll turn this to automatic run. And now we have our three-sided polygons that we applied that adaptive component to. And now we're going to just make some things appear. I want to make it a surface. So a patch, it's called surface by patch. So if I take a curve, which is a polygon, a closed curve, should I say, plug that in, we now get a solid off of that. And now there's a little trick. We can find a center point. Let me hold on just a second here. Let me get my my helper up. So I'm going to look for polygon. Oops. Polygon, and it actually shows up here. It's finds the center, so I've got a polygon center. So I'm going to feed that polygon in, and right away you'll see that center point in, and that's where we're going to use as our coordinate system. That's where we're going to take this and we're going to rotate it basically 90 degrees in the, I guess along the y-axis, so to speak, or the x-axis, so that it will lie flat, and then we can dimension it and or use it for some kind of automated cutting or printing. So we have that point, and now we need to do a few other manipulations of it. We need to move it into that new coordinate system. So I'm going to do one more step, and then I'll stop this clip and then pick it up in the next one. We've got to find that surface normal point. So surface, let's see if I go dot normal. Add a point. So if I feed in a surface and I feed in a point, we get a vector coming out. The vector is actually not showing here. So I'm going to add one more step. I'm going to put a plane in now. If you're not clear what normal is a perpendicular vector off of a surface, which means that it's even if it's curved, it is the point where it's is directly off of the surface as possible, making 90 degrees to every axis off of that center vector coming off. And I'm doing a really terrible job of describing that. So we'll do plane by origin. We're going to plug that point in as the origin point. And for the vector is that normal. And we get, let me see if I can zoom in here. You can see now we have that kind of a plane, that normal plane that I'm talking about. That vector is coming out in this direction. It's not visible. And that's the plane. And we're going to now rotate that into another coordinate system. And we'll pick that up in the next clip.